What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is one of the most requested matches I've ever had. It's Masashi Takeda versus Kenji Fukimoto in a gusset plate, light tube rope, alpha deathmatch. And alpha deathmatch basically means plus more. It's basically the same thing as a normal deathmatch, but they're just saying they're going to use even more weapons than what they have listed. The match took place at Korakuen Hall at the Crazy Monkeys Tokyo Deathmatch Carnival 2016. We get a graphic of a preview of the match that shows the wrestlers, and this match is going to be insane. We get a shot of the ring, and then we get a shot of the gusset plate boards. If you don't know what a gusset plate is, if you type it in on Google, it says it's a thin metal object typically made of steel that is used to affix independent members of a structure to each other or to a beam to aid alignment. Gusset plates are used in a joint, bend, or otherwise disjointed structural locations that require additional support to withstand stresses. Basically, it's this piece of metal that has a bunch of spikes sticking out of it that are sharp as a fucking razor. We get a shot of the light tube ropes, and then we get more shots of the gusset plates on the ropes. And then we see Masashi Takeda make his way to the ring. Takeda, who's wearing a mask to the ring, stands on the second rope and takes his mask off and poses for the crowd.
Takeda Masashi, さあ、命の削り合いが始まります。
Kenji shakes up the two cans in his hand. I'm pretty sure they're cans of beer, but I can't really tell. The bell rings and Kenji throws a beer to Takeda, and before he can even say cheers, him and Takeda start smashing the cans into each other's head. After a few punches, Kenji reverses Takeda's Irish whip, and Takeda bounces off the light tube ropes and drop kicks Kenji into a gusset plate board. Takeda breaks a light tube over his own head and then goes outside the ring and breaks the rest of it over Kenji's head.
まさにカーニバルの幕開けにふさわしい乾杯シーンでしたけども、ちょっとガジェットモードなんですけど相当やばいですねあれね。すごいですねあれね。
Takeda grabs another light tube and runs over to Kenji and breaks it over his head.
で木材を接合するプレートだそうです。小さな突起が多数突き出している。
Kenji kicks Takeda in the stomach and then goes over and grabs a gusset plate off the board and puts it on Takeda's forehead and starts punching it into his head.
これですよ。
これが無数にこの木の板についています。これ
はやばいですよ。
そう額にこすりつけていく、突き刺していく。
Kenji grabs two more gusset plates off the board and goes to stick them into Takeda, but Takeda kicks him and puts them into Kenji's head and then starts punching it.
あれだけ流血するわけですからね。
そのプレートを2枚持ってこういうそう逆に突き刺していった武田。
As the crowd chants his name, Takeda goes underneath the ring and grabs a bunch of scissors and puts them to Kenji's forehead.
なんでしょうか、ハサミ。幾重にも重ねたハサミです。そのハサミで額切り裂いていく。ハサミの刃に血がついています。額が割れました。木本の額が割れたその傷口にハサミを突き刺していきます。
The men make their way back into the ring and we get a shot of the pair of scissors that Takeda put on Kenji's forehead with blood on them, and it's fucking sick.
ご覧ください。
相当エグいシーンですね。
Takeda takes a gusset plate off the board and sticks it onto Kenji's arm and then punches it into his bicep.
十分注意してご覧いただきたいと思います。残虐なシーンが続きます。
Takeda brings him over to the other side of the ring and starts punching it into his arm even more.
見るに耐えない、目を背けてしまうかのようなシーン。
もうこれで我々も血が滴るステーキは食えないですね。
Takeda grabs another gusset plate and punches it into Kenji's forehead.
額に今刺さっていました。
刺さってます。
Takeda takes Kenji and whips him into the light tube ropes.
血を流しています。蛍光灯に叩きつける。
いい汗をかくっていうね。
Kenji slaps Takeda in the face, and they have a full-on slap war until Takeda breaks a light tube over Kenji's head.
汗のように当然のように血を流すんだというね。
そうですよね。
そういうこの武田の感覚なんでしょう。
まあね、高校野球ではね、その夏の汗を流してやるって言いますけど、デスマッチはこれ血ですね、でもまあ言ってみれば熱血っていうぐらいですからね、どちらの方が正しいかもしれませんね。
確かに熱い血は流してますね。
Takeda picks up the pair of scissors and puts them on Kenji's back and goes to hit it with a chair, but the scissors keep falling off, and he readjusts them and hits him with the chair, but the scissors fell.
ですよね、日常の中にあるものですからね。
そのハサミを、立てています。背中に立てる。
Takeda doesn't want to let the crowd down, so he takes the scissors and he puts them on the ground with the blades facing up and goes to suplex Kenji onto it, but Kenji scoop slams Takeda onto it. The spot is pretty fucking dangerous, and I'm sure there's a lot of deathmatch wrestlers that probably wouldn't be down to take it.
どう考えても OK じゃないですよね。
武田的には OK なんでしょう。ハサミが立っている、刃が立っている状態。
Kenji grabs the pair of scissors and puts them to Takeda's head, and then he just takes the scissors and just keeps punching him with it.
なんとかとハサミは使いようっていうね、言葉を考えた人は本当先見の明がありましたね。要はこういうことなんですよね。
なんでしょうか、そうでしょうか。
こういう時使うんでしょうね。
Kenji takes a light tube off the ropes and he headbutts it into Takeda's head and then just takes a bite out of the light tube and starts chewing on the glass.
蛍光灯を割って蛍光灯食います。
これちゃんと消化されるんですかね、胃の中で。
Kenji grabs 2 gusset plates off the boards and he goes over and puts it to Takeda's head and arm, and then he puts one into his bicep and punches it until it sticks into his arm.
どういう仕組みなんですかね。武田の悲鳴が響き当たる。プレートを突き刺す、腕に突き刺します。
神様、こういうことを。
すごい出血です。
Kenji takes a gusset plate and puts it onto Takeda's back and then just full force stomps on it.
完全に神様の想定外のことをね、人体に対してやってるわけですからね。
Kenji grabs a gusset plate and he slaps it into Takeda's back, and then he gives him a back suplex on it while it's still stuck in his body.
今度は背中、そのプレートを添えたままバックドロップ。武田悶絶。
Kenji goes for the pin, but he only gets a 2 count, so he goes over to the gusset plate board and puts it in the middle of the ring and tries to powerbomb Takeda onto it, but Takeda reverses and gives him a backdrop onto it.
ご覧の状態です。
アップで映さなくていいっすよ、これ。
危ない。パワーボムを狙っています木本。このプレートにかけて叩きつけるか。返した。いった。
When the men stand up, they're in opposite corners, so Takeda gives Kenji a running knee and then a few punches and kicks until Kenji falls into the corner, and then he puts some light tubes on him and gives him another running knee into the tubes.
正しい出血です。顔を真っ赤に染めて、それでも膝蹴り。木本を座らせて蛍光灯を首筋にセットしました。そこやーっと膝。
While Kenji's down, Takeda goes over and grabs a couple pairs of scissors and puts them around his head and neck, and then he grabs a chair and puts it on his head and then hits it with another chair. Takeda goes for the pin but only gets a 2 count, so he says fuck it and gets the gusset plate board and puts it in the middle of the ring and goes to slam Kenji on it, but Kenji grabs Takeda by the waist and slams him hard as fuck on it.
木本がこらえる。
これは食らえないですね。
Takeda basically no-sells it, and he gets back up and gives Kenji a big German suplex and then a huge running kick and then falls on the mat exhausted.
こ からロッキッポ両者ダウン
Takeda gets up and gives Kenji a scoop slam and then puts the gusset plate board on his body and goes on the top rope and does a flip onto him, but Kenji flips the board over, so Takeda hits the spikes.
完全にこれはもう地獄すら生ずるい世界になってますよね。
そのボードを木本の体に置きます。ご覧の状態になっています。木本これは食らえない。おっとボード裏返しした。
Kenji throws the whole board at Takeda's face and then goes for a suplex.
ダメージが返ってきた。さあ武田がブレッパスターを食らう。
Kenji goes for the pin but only gets a 2 count, so he grabs the gusset plate board and puts it in the middle of the ring and gives Takeda a sit-out tiger driver onto it.
普通の人では信じられない領域に突入しています。ありえない世界に突入しています。しかしまだ前に進もう。まだ前に進もうというのか。
パッケージドライバー。
パッケージドライバーの体勢。脳天からこのプレートに突き刺していこうというのか。危ない。といった。しかしこれは
自分も
ちょっと吹本が全部に。
Kenji goes for the pin on Takeda but gets a 2 count again, so he goes and takes 2 chairs and sets him up and puts a gusset plate board on it, and then he puts Takeda on the top rope and goes for a superplex, but Takeda gives him a sunset flip powerbomb into the gusset plate board.
ボードに投げつけようというのか。さあご覧の状態。武田がこらえます。ヘッドバット。くるっと1回転。パワーボムの体勢。
すれました。すれましたよね今。
Kenji kicks out at 1 and hulks up, and the men exchange blows, and then Takeda gives him like an angle slam.
T シャツの人の背中傷だらけですよね。
木本がやる気です。
血がやはり
みるみるうちに背中が血で染まっていきます。おっと国際1回戦スラム。
Takeda goes for the pin but only gets a 2 count, so he picks up the gusset plate board and puts it on Kenji's chest and gives it a running knee.
結末分かりませんね。
本当ですよね。
またボードを持たせてそこへのキッポ。
Takeda goes for the pin but only gets a 2 count again, so he says fuck this and breaks a light tube over his head and goes underneath the ring and finds a board with like 15 pairs of scissors on it with the blades all facing up. The first time we saw scissors on this channel was when Ian Rotten and Madman Pondo literally sliced the shit out of each other with a pair of scissors at a CZW event. But this is different because it's a board of scissors and there's literally like 20 pairs of scissors on it. Takeda picks up Kenji and gives him his lifting reverse DDT, aka the U-Crash, onto the scissor board, and you see one of the blades go into Kenji's back. I slowed it down and zoomed in on it, and you could literally see the pair of scissors in his fucking back. It's so fucking sick. Look at that shit. It's so fucking brutal. I would say this is one of the sickest deathmatch bumps I've ever seen in my life. Takeda goes for the pin and finally gets a 3 count. We get a shot of Kenji's back from the gusset plates and the scissors, and it's fucking butchered. But I must say, Kenji Fukimoto has huge balls for doing a spot like this. Like, this is fucking insane. The ref raises Takeda's hand in victory, and Takeda celebrates in the ring, and then he gets on the mic and cuts a promo in Japanese, so I can't tell you what he's saying, and then we see Kenji get carried out by a couple other wrestlers.
凄惨なアンチイン対決は武田に軍配。しかし吹本健二見事な玉砕でありました。
We get another promo in Japanese from Takeda, and that's a wrap on this match, guys.
最近よデスマッチって言ったら
Thanks for watching the video, guys. I had a good time watching this match, so I figured I'd cover it for all you guys that requested it. And I really enjoyed it after meeting Masashi at the Nick Gage Invitational 6 in Chicago this year. It was fucking awesome. He has scars all over his body. It looks crazy on video, but when you see it in person, it's even fucking crazier, I swear to God. And if you'd like to see Masashi Takeda's matches from Nick Gage Invitational 6 and more exclusive Patreon content, or just to show me some support, head to patreon.com/Blako561. Major shout out and special thanks to Thomas Sanchez, Damian Edgerton, Nicholas, Logan Flanagan, Matt Watts, and Grant Stoppel. I love all 6 of you guys. And people have been asking me for my social media, so I'm going to put it in the description. Just send me a message to let me know that you're a fan, and I'll add you back. Later, guys.